Hi, my name is Pablo and welcome to More Than Mind, a show about meditation that teaches you how there's more to your mind than you think. In today's video, you're going to learn one of the most basic aspects of the mind. That is that your mind wanders and how to deal with that when you're meditating. Let me start by asking you if you've ever felt during meditation like your mind is going to a far, far away land. And maybe you find yourself thinking that you forgot to feed the fish and you forgot to pick up the kids and you start feeling like such a horrible parent. Or you never send that text to your friend who asks you about dinner for next week, and all of a sudden you are far away. You're not following the breath, you're not focusing on the concentration or on the mindfulness as you should be. And you might have this feeling or this thought that, oh my God, I suck at meditating and I'm such a failure. And it's not the fact, it's not the case. In reality, what is happening is that it's not that you're failing. It's that you're uncovering a very fundamental aspect of the mind. And that is that the mind waves. It wanders and then it waves because the attention comes and goes. So it is very normal for you to experience this aspect where you have your concentration and then thoughts come in, and then you notice that thoughts have come in, and then you regain awareness on the breath or whatever aspect of that you're focusing on. And this is absolutely normal. People freak out because sometimes they feel like they're not good at it, but this is part of the brain. It's how it works. And in fact, there was a research that was done and published in Scientific America with one of the co-authors being Matthew Ricard, who we talked about last time. And in this research, they explained 4 stages of the mind and how the brain illuminates and different parts of the brain shine up when you're going through this process of the wave, right? Of losing your attention and regaining it. And those 4 parts are, the first one is the mind wandering, right? This is basically your normal state of being whenever you're not being distracted with something external, and this is known as the default mode network in the brain. The second one is a distraction awareness, and it is essentially that you've become aware of the fact that you are thinking about not having fed the fish, and that triggers in the salient network, another part of the brain. Now, it doesn't mean that awareness lives in the salient network or in this part of the brain. I think awareness is a lot more complex than just a part of the brain. But this is the part that it triggers, the part of the brain that is triggered. Now, the third part is reorientation of the awareness. When you've noticed you've lost your awareness, now you're going to bring it back to usually the breath, right? And in this study, the example used was the breath. So you bring it back there, and then you're activating the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Another part of the brain, again, it doesn't mean that this is where the awareness lives, but it's just how the brain is starting to change the different areas. And then the fourth and last one is a sustained focus. When you finally land on the breath and you stick to it for a longer period of time, and you are back to the place of awareness. And this is also the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. But again, all of these areas is just highlighting how the brain is operating, but it doesn't mean that that's where awareness lives. The longer you practice this, obviously the stronger the connection will become. And this is how we train the mind. This is how we change the mind. And we're going to talk about this in a later video. But for now, just to summarize, to tell you, what we just discussed is that the fact that the mind waves, the attention comes and goes, it's not that you're failing. It's a fundamental aspect of the mind, and you're just discovering that about the mind because you're finally paying attention to what is going on inside. So don't freak out if you forgot to feed the fish. Then the other thing we're learning is that the more we practice this, the more we practice meditation, the stronger those connections in the brain will become, the more we'll train certain aspects of the brain that will help us with concentration and will move us away from thinking. And in time, we will be grounded in a type of awareness that is bigger than thinking, that is wiser than thinking, and that is kinder than thinking. So let's give this a shot now. So now let's give it a shot. And today we're also going to focus on the breath. But I want you also to notice how your attention wanders off the breath. Right? And also notice when you notice that your attention wanders off the breath. And how you react to the fact that your attention wandered off the breath. Were you kind? Were you frustrated? Were you indifferent? And it doesn't matter how you react. All you need to do is notice when you lose your awareness and how you reacted when you lost your awareness. So let's give this a shot. And we're going to start in a very similar way. So last time when you can sit down with your feet on the ground, cross-legged the way I'm doing it. The hands, they can go on the knees. It doesn't really matter. I sit like this and my back is straight. So once you found a comfortable position, I want you to take first focus on a spot in front of you. Rest your eyes there for a second. And now take a deep breath in. And exhale. Take another deep breath in, and I want you to hold the breath now. Lock the breath. Lock it a little bit longer, and then exhale. And then a third and final time, hold the breath in. Lock the breath. Hold it in, and now exhale. And when you exhale, close your eyes, if you haven't done so already. Notice just how you feel after those 3 breaths. Notice just how you feel sitting down right now, starting your meditation. And I want you to focus now on the breath. And when I say the breath, I want you to bring your attention to the nostrils and the sensation of the breath as it comes in and as it goes out of your nostrils. Notice the temperature when it goes in. Maybe it's a little bit colder compared to the temperature of the breath when it goes out. It's a bit warmer when he goes out. Notice the airflow. Notice the rhythm. Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it deep or is it shallow? Notice also maybe that part between your nostrils and your upper lip. Maybe you feel the slightest of sensations when the breath comes out. Maybe you don't. In which case, focus on the nostrils. Notice now if your attention has wandered. Notice how natural it is and how normal it is. And bring your attention back. Back to the breath. So notice how you reacted to having lost your attention. And remind yourself that it's normal. Following the breath, now switch gears to another physical sensation produced by the breath, and now that is the chest and the belly. Notice how the chest expands when the breath goes in, and the belly also moves as the breath goes in. And also how it moves when the breath comes out. Follow the breath. Once again, if your attention wanders, notice that it wandered. Notice how you reacted. Remind yourself that it's normal and bring back the attention to the breath. Now I'll give you a couple minutes for you to practice on your own. Notice if the mind wanders. Remind yourself it's normal. Be kind. Following the breath. Noticing the temperature of the breath. The movement of your chest. And now try to compare your breath, the depth of the breath. Is it shallow or is it deep compared to when you started? Maybe it's the same. Take your time. Now, I want you to bring the attention again back to the breath if your mind has wandered. And I want you to take a deep breath and exhale. And another deep breath. Exhale. And on this third and final deep breath, as you exhale, open your eyes. And welcome back. And the very first thing I want you to do is to notice how you feel. Notice how you feel compared to the beginning of these 10 minutes. If you feel any different. If you don't, it's okay. If you do, it's okay. And the second thing I want you to do is to congratulate yourself for having taken this time to practice, to exercise the mind, to develop the parts of the brain that focus on attention, to bring yourself closer to peace internally. And if he doesn't feel like peace at all, and he just feels like chaos inside the mind and what the hell just happened, it's okay. It takes time to develop these skills. The mind will continue to wander. I think the whole point of today was to understand that it is part of who we are, and the only thing we can do is change how we react to the fact that we lose our attention and our mind wanders, and keep bringing it back to the breath. So thank you very much for joining today, and if you like the video, please subscribe and like. If you find some people could benefit from this, also share it with them. Thanks, and until next time.